Hi, this is Cyril from Work Smarter, Live Better. In this short video, I want to share with you one simple rule that can make a big shift of how you prioritize. I was working last week with a group of executives. It's a long journey. I'm going to be working with them for about 4 months. But one seed that I'm trying to plant in them from the start is this very important rule about prioritization. It's funny, people see executive in their ivory tower and their big room and they have lots of time to think. The reality is completely different. Most of the executives, most of the managers, most of the leaders that I work with, they're bombarded with email. They go from one meeting to another one. They rush all day and they never really have the time to do their key priorities. The day-to-day always takes over. So I asked them a very simple question. So how do you prioritize? Why do you decide that you're going to do one thing compared to another? And there's different answers. There's people who say, look, deadline. And so I look at what's the deadline and when it's due and I decide what I need to do. There's some people who talk about who's asking for it. There's some people who talk about what they like to do. They say, I start the day with what I like to do. Other people say, I just tackle the quick things first. Or, how important it is. There's different kind of reasons. There's a lot of research about how high performers are different in the way they prioritize compared to others. You can read the Brian Tracy of the world. You can read the Peter Drucker of the world, the Stephen Covey of the world, even listening to Eisenhower and all this rule around prioritization. There's one key thing that comes again and again. The number one key rule of prioritization is prioritize by impact. Prioritize by impact, by value, not by urgency. And it's really hard to do. The first question you should always ask when you look at what you have to do is not when it's due. It is what impact long-term it will have. Let me explain how hard it is. If you have, and I'll take two simple examples. If you have two things to do, this is due tonight. Someone is shouting for it. This, you got 3 months to do. Which one would most people do first? When I ask this question, the answer is normally this one, the one which is due tonight. High performer thinks differently. High performers say, I know it's due tonight, I know I've got 3 months, but which one will have the most impact long term? And if the answer is this one, that's what they do. They say, I'm going to start with this, and at the end of the day, if I've got a bit of time, I'll do this one. And I know it's really hard to do, but that's the number one principle if you really want to perform. I remember a CEO that one of my clients was talking about, highly effective CEO, highly successful CEO. And one of my clients said he had this simple rule, the CEO. Every first 3 hours of his day was dedicated to long-term strategy, long-term key priorities. If he had a meeting at 9 o'clock, that means he would wake up at 4 or 5 to make sure his first 3 hours was always focused on long-term priorities. A bit extreme, but that was his way of doing it. I think it's a rule you can apply even for email. You check an email and you look at it and say, I can spend half an hour doing the perfect answer for that email. You need to ask yourself what impact long term. Because if the impact is low, then you should spend very little time on it. You maybe want to spend 5 minutes because it's much better that you spend another 20, 25 minutes on something different. This is this week, Work Smarter, Live Better tip. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, if you like this blog, just put a like, comment. Put a comment in it. I love hearing any ideas that you have about your rule of prioritization. So let's continue the discussion below. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Cheers.